Hey everyone, it's Sunday. Welcome to the stream, and we're going to continue coloring our comic book cover for today, which is Fantastic Four, along with Thor and Iron Man. And it's an old Walt Simonson cover, but we're going to continue it, part 3. I want to finish up all the flat artwork, especially on the characters at least. We got pretty far last time on it, which was nice. So it'll be an hour stream of us coloring digitally, and it's tutorial wise. So anybody has any questions, anything they want to ask in general about Photoshop, the coloring techniques, how to do this, um, feel free to ask. That's why I'm here. This is calming for me, and I want to be kind of like your teacher or your guide to doing this on your own. A lot of fun. I enjoyed this. I used to do it. I did it a couple of times professionally, but I don't think I'm an expert at any sorts of this at this. But you know, if I could bestow some knowledge on everybody on how to do this, and if you're interested in it, I'll continue to do it. So here we go. Let's change up our screen. I'm gonna go full screen here for a minute. There we are. That's our desktop. We're using Photoshop for this, as we usually do. You may also want to follow along, and if you do, or want to try this out on your own, photopia.com is a free online version of Photoshop, let's say. It's pretty close to what Photoshop is. It's almost one-to-one. A lot of the tools I'm using in here, we can actually use in Photopia. So, and it's free. Photopia is free, so definitely put it to use. Whether you use it for this or for making stuff in OBS, feel free. This is where we're at. Colored up Thor last time. Started doing some highlights on them, but I want to save the highlights to the end. So we're going to basically color up everybody here if we can. Maybe we'll get to Rosebud. Maybe we'll do it next week. And then the last thing we'll do is the highlights and maybe change up the background. Still haven't decided what to do with this square here. I'm going to take it out completely, which is probably a lot of work, or maybe add something in here. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So as I've said before, we're in Photoshop. The latest version is 2021, I believe. We're using the pen tool to basically go in and select certain areas that need to be colored. You may also want to use the lasso tool if it's faster. There's also the polygonal lasso tool. I prefer to use the path tool. I'm most comfortable with it. And it works a lot easier than a lot of the other tools that are available in here. Because, you know, you could just make shapes and you could change them and save them even if you want to. So let's see if I could take out the libraries. The libraries are the most useless thing here. I don't need the adjustment. I don't need the properties window. That's what I want. I want to show you all my layers. And hopefully you could see this because I can't really zoom in on that part. But I have 3 folders here. Background, the background colors. Character art, which is my flat colors. So I should rename that to flats. Now, flat color means we're just laying down color in those areas, no highlights. Highlights gets its own layer. Combine the flat coloring already. The highlights on Thor I've kind of left separate. When you color digitally, what you'd like to do is be able to have as little layers as possible towards the end so that the file is pretty compact, because Photoshop files do tend to get big. I personally think it's okay to have different layers, as many as you feel comfortable with when coloring. So definitely feel free to make all the layers you want, and then at the end you could always flatten them. That's the way I operate. So yeah, let's continue with coloring here, and let's start with the Fantastic Four. This was drawn by Walt Simonson. I forgot who inked it. He might have inked it too. He probably did. He's got only his name on it. And this is from '89. Fantastic Four 337, Volume 1. I know they rebooted the series a million times. This is what the original cover looked like. was a recolored version, but I don't have it open because I don't want to be influenced by that. I want to kind of do my own thing in terms of highlights. Literally, everybody has their own standard colors to their outfits, like the Fantastic Four, they're white and blue. So we're going to color that next. And what we're going to do first is select everything that's white. Johnny Storm's gloves, sheet things, outfits. Yeah, she's sheet thing. By the way, this is not the thing. This is Ben Grimm over here. Back then, something happened and she got radiated and Ben Grimm did not, so. Or got unradiated. So he was no longer the thing. She became this awful, awful she thing, which, pretty much messed with her mind psychologically. She looked in a mirror in one issue I remember and she was crying because she's like, I look hideous. I don't know how to get out of this. So they really dealt with that issue. Her real name is Sharon Ventura, I think. I found her bio online. She was Miss Marvel before she became She-Thing. That's why she has the M on her chest instead of the 4 for the Avengers. All right, let's color. Enough talking. Let's do all the whites. Boring old whites. As you can see when we're zooming in, we have this zoomed in at 300%, so of course everything's going to look pixelated. You zoom out to 100%, it shouldn't. I'm also seeing these not so black areas on their outfits. So what I might eventually do to remedy that is copy the black layer onto itself and merge it downward. That should fix it. If we do, actually, let's do it now. We do a copy of the black layer, then do it as multiply. Would even darken. Gets rid of all that extra gray that's in there. Right. Makes everything darker though. We do multiply. Take this down a bit. You were starting to see the gray there? It up. Oh, probably have to do it 100%. Just to make sure everything's 100% black in there. 85, 86, 84, 86 you're doing. Okay. Makes everything darker. Black's black. You could see. All right, so let's continue with sheet thing over here. Favorite comic book artist? Walt Simonson. That's why I chose this page. Loved his art. Also did some nice lettering on some of his comic books. I know he did it and not whoever was lettering for him. Like, I'm sure he had the guidelines for that guy. But he would always have these big sound effect words in his art. And I always liked that. Very influenced by Jack Kirby. He eventually ended up influencing people like Eric Larson, I would think. Mark Silvestri. You definitely see a little bit of their artwork and or his artwork in them. This is their sled, so we could go around that. He's got white hair, Mr. Fantastic, on the sides. He's got like those skunk spots, but we'll color those in separately. Let me just name this so we don't lose what we've already pathed. Mr. Johnny Storm. The Fantastic Four logo on their chest is white, so we'll keep that white. Basically, you're just tracing when you path. I don't know who's calling me at this hour, but the heck with them. I'll call them back. It was a good stretch where every time I would sit down to stream, I would just get all these phone calls. Spam calls, nonetheless, until I blocked them all. My friend Wally. Exactly who I expected to call. Got a dilemma. Something about saving money and not buying something. Calls me for advice. I appreciate that. His other glove. Yeah. They have this little square here too as white, but that's not really white. And I forgot to do his thumb. It should be blue. They did a couple of the colors wrong on the original artwork. For example, the sled. The Rosebud 2 sled that they're working with here. They colored it all wrong. There's some pockets underneath that should have been cut out for the background, and they didn't cut them out on the original. It wasn't until you saw the remade, remastered colored version for the trade paperback that you notice that. Right. Save it. Mr. Fantastic. We're coloring right through the background. Doesn't bother me one bit. Because the background's on its own layer, and we'll deal with that later, towards the end. We might do something completely different than taking the approach of the original colorist. For all these rays coming out of it, maybe we'll do something crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it up to the chat room. Be afraid to zoom in as much as you need to. 300 is usually a good percentage to zoom in when pathing. Once you get to 400, everything's too blocky, and you try to get too specific with your paths, and it just turns out to be a mess. Okay, so you can see his belt and his glove. And I got to do the belt on Johnny Storm. This is his glove. Right here. The tip of the glove. They're saying this, I think. Little area. Yeah, that's definitely his belt right here showing through. I think that's the end of the whites areas on him. The exception of his hair, which we'll deal with later. I want to make it gray, not white. His hair. When they rebooted this series, whoever the artist was on that was around 2004, 2005, he made them look really young. Here they actually look the age they're supposed to be. If you think about it, comic book characters never age as they should. If that was the case, Spider-Man would be close to 90 years old by now. Maybe late 70s, early 80s. Mr. Fantastic and Sue Richards would probably be even older than that, so Don't have to be too neat here with coloring. As long as you color within the black areas, the black lines. There we go. Now, colorist is third in line when they're coloring pages. So the penciler really needs to be fast in getting the penciled pages to the inker. Then once he does that, then the inker's got to be pretty fast to give enough time for the colorist to work on a page. Usually you want to have an artist who's quick enough to do 3-4 issues in advance. A lot of the artists nowadays aren't, so you have several and numerous artists like working on one issue of a comic book. I'm surprised the industry is still around, to tell you the truth. Everything should be digital at this point, personally speaking. I don't think they're making much money off comics. It's more into movies and stuff. Could be wrong. I don't know much about the industry anymore. I used to be closer to it earlier in my career. Okay, so everything that's there is going to be 100%, well, 0% any color, let's say, because we were working in CMYK. But it's going to be absolute white. There you go. Starting to lose some of that background. Now we'll do everything that is blue on the Fantastic Four. Take off the background now. See the whites in there. For blue, I want to have... This color is kind of strange. So... a second here. This blue is a little weak in the cyan department, or maybe it's got a lot of magenta added to it. As you can see, it's got 31% magenta in it. It's gonna be hard to see if you're watching this on a phone, but don't worry, I will make a VOD. It'll be on YouTube, and then I'll share it with everyone through Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, this is where I'm at. So magenta 31. Let's take out the magenta. Actually, you know what we're going to do? Let's do cyan 100. 50. I think that looks a lot better than the blue they used. And black in there. Invalid numeric entry. Why? It'd be 0. See how this looks. For a blue. The book looks fantastic. Thank you, DRS. Appreciate it. How's your day going? Let's bring this up here. So I'm only doing flats. I wanted to show highlights for a little bit last time, so we did the highlights on Thor, but get the flats done at least. The book will start looking like it's coming together. Going good, just relaxing. Nice, that's how Sunday should be. My Sunday was a little crazy this morning. Had to run out to Home Depot and then this path 8. I should really name them what I'm working on, but I don't. I'm lazy in that department. I had to run out this morning, and I spent most of the morning on the way back trying to find a parking spot out on the street. And I found one. Some woman in probably the smallest car that was not a smart car decided that she was going to take up 2 parking spots. Then she finally left. I guess she decided she wasn't going to stay anymore. And I was like, I had to grab my car, race around the block to park it. It's my big gripe with living in a city. But enough of me complaining. Complain too much sometimes. All right, hope to remedy that by the end of the year. We're probably gonna move to the suburbs. Let's see how this blue looks on these 2 areas, and then we could always change it. I think that's part of his outfit. Yeah, that's his arm right there. He's got his arm around his wife. They had a kid in the comic too, right? Named Franklin, if I remember correctly. He was a young kid, and then like they did a future storyline with him, maybe. Okay, so the blue. Where's our blue? There we go. I don't like that blue. It's better than the blue they used here. Of course, the colors look different on here because they used different kind of paper. I mean, the cover was glossy, but the inside paper, the colors wouldn't look exact. I'm like in the Bob Ross school of art. Like, people say they're not talented. Like, my wife tells me that all the time. I'm like, you just haven't discovered your talent yet. And once you do, no, there's a lot to be talented in. Once you do, you just stick with it, and practice makes perfect too. So this I had to learn. This is like what I did my first year at, or the first 6 months at my first job. Mapping stuff. And not just for coloring comics, but more so for retouching sports images for use in baseball cards. This is his leg. Okay. If you're retouching images, learning the pathing tool is very important. You could probably just, like I said a couple of streams ago, is to make a career just using this tool and doing all the paths that eventually get sent to the whoever's doing the retouching, or if you wanted to do the retouching yourself, and you can do it. All right, we started a little late today, so it's 2 o'clock. We're going to keep going with the colors. It'll probably be a little bit more than an hour today. I want to be able to show as much as possible here. At least the flats. Even if we don't color the sled, I want to get all the flat orange on sheet thing. I never really thought I would have any talent in art until high school is when I discovered it. Like, I had an art class senior year, and we'd get these assignments, and I would have to do like like one of the big projects we had to do throughout the year was a self-portrait of ourselves. And like the teacher pulled me aside one day and he's like, look, have you ever drawn before? I'm like, no. He's like, your art is pretty good. You have some promise in there. You know, maybe it's something you want to pursue, maybe not full time, but like a side gig or something, or as a hobby. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought about it, and I was into comics, and I was like, well, drawing comics is fun, but it's very hard to get into. At the time, thought I was going to be a programmer and start making video games, but no, that was very like a true passion. But no school offered any program at that time for video game development. You basically learned how to program, and was it. He got a job programming, whether it was video games or anything else. I didn't like it too much, so I didn't stick with it, and I switched over to graphic design. I'm making too many paths here, but okay. I figured graphic design would be more visual for what I want to do, and I'd be doing graphics. And I did end up working on some SNK stuff, so I did some promo ads for them. A lot of online ads back when Flash was pretty popular. So even though I wasn't making video games, I still kind of worked in promoting video games, I guess. I'll say this right now, and I appreciate you saying that's awesome, but my first job out of college, like that was like me hitting the lotto. And I was a comic book fan, I was a sports fan, I collected trading cards, I read comic books, and it was January of 2000. I needed a job. Literally the week after January 1st. At the time, you had to get a newspaper to look at job listings. And I bought the New York Times. I think it might have been like January 4th. There was a 2-line ad in there. Graphic designer needed. Please send resume to this address. I'm like, okay. I don't think anything of it, but nothing's going to come of it. Well, let me just send it in. 2 days later, I got a call back. They're like, hey, we want you to come in, try out. It was a phone interview. And I'm like, okay, I'll come in. I'm like, I don't know what kind of company this is going to be. Is that part of his outfit? This part is part of his outfit. This is not. That looks like part of the sled. They colored it wrong. And I go on to job interview, and I'm like, I walk right in, and the lobby, they got all these sports cards hanging from the wall, and then they have like all these toys and stuff all over the place. And I'm like, holy shit, where did I just show up? And it worked out. I got the interview, I did a tryout. It was a lot of fun. And I got the job. Things happen for a reason. Yeah, just awesome timing at the right time. And mind you, I had graduated in July of that year. I took the summer off because I wanted to go visit family in Italy. We did that and came back. I was looking for a place to live with my friends. They were going to be my roommate, but I couldn't do it because they all were ready to move in and I didn't even have a job yet. So I was like, I can't do this, guys. So anyway, I went to the job interview. It just worked out. It was just like, this is awesome. Now, mind you, it didn't pay a lot. I'll be honest. It did not pay a lot. For someone out of college, it was fine. Um, but just being in the industry, just partaking and doing something that I truly loved as a hobby and making it more than that was just fantastic. It was a fast paced job. Things changed a lot in terms of what we worked on. And it taught me how to be an efficient designer while also not sacrificing quality when I would design. So I learned a lot from this job. I learned the industry, I learned how to talk to clients, everything. No job I will ever have. Well, hopefully my next job is better than or as close to this if I do go back to work at a design studio, but no job since then has ever taught me as much about the industry and, you know, techniques and everything. Even though I didn't get paid a lot, it was all the experience I got out of that job was just amazing. In fact, when I left the company and I went to my other job, they got sold the studio got sold the day after I left. And forgive me if I'm rambling on here. I'm just giving my story. Um, Tell me to stop if I am. They got sold like the day after my last day there. Company was sold. And there were rumblings about it. And eventually the people who bought it and I guess ran it into the ground because A, they either weren't interested in it or they were just assholes and didn't know how to run it properly. They ended up losing all the clients. And eventually they closed. So I got out at the right time. But had that company still been around, I probably would have went back to work for them. Even my boss was like, look, I know you need to do something different for a little bit, change of pace, but if you ever find yourself in need of a job, call me. You're coming back here. You're one of the few people I'd ever have work for me again. GI Monkey, thank you for the host. I appreciate it. How's it going? Hope you're having a good weekend. Coloring some comics here. Also telling a story about my first job. I'm glad you're finding it interesting, DRS. So, yeah, me and like a bunch of coworkers I still talk to are always like, if that studio was still around, we'd still be working there. Even we had our days where we hated working there, but things would have just been the way they were. That studio was still around. Or at least I got a lot out of it just working there. Just learned a lot about the industry and the business side of things. And every job I've had since then has never been as intense design wise. It just never provided me with the opportunity to put my talents to 100% use like that job did. I hope that will change in the future. I am searching now and, you know, why did they really did not do a good job coloring this. This can't be part, it's got to be part of her outfit right here where I'm pointing. I don't know if you guys see it on the screen. Right here. This little line right here. It's got to be part of her, not her outfit, her skin. That's why I get frustrated at some of my jobs because it's all red tape and it's like, you know, let's bring an outside designer in. And I'm like, you idiots, you got me here. You're making me do like analytical work, like, you know, punching in numbers. And it's like, yeah, I know that's part of my job, but go ahead, have your outside designer. You'll need it when I'm gone. Sorry, not to sound too bitter. Really shouldn't be talking about my job online like that, but nobody knows I stream there. If they do, at this point, so be it. Just ranting. I'll stop. What do we think about that orange? I think it's got a little too much magenta in it. Make it a little darker. That's 80% yellow, 100. Also, you don't want any cyan in your orange. 50-100 is what I consider like to be the right color orange. But I think it needs to be a little muddier for her. We do 40 and maybe 10. Try that. There you go. That's the right orange. Then when we do our highlights, like, could throw some less magenta in it and make it more yellowish, I guess, for the light highlights, and for the dark parts, the shadows. We'll just throw more black in, I guess. This is looking good. I'm happy with this so far. I don't know what we're going to do after digital coloring. I'm assuming we're going to have at least 2-3 more classes in this, and then maybe I'll take a break for a while. Maybe we'll come back and color again, or maybe I could do photo retouching. Show some photo retouching. Photo retouching is always fun. But you how to restore a photograph that's been ripped in half. Completely make the person who's been chopped out of the photo like there again. That'd be cool. Where are her eyes? They're white, right? Can I put the whites in her eyes? Just gonna use the lasso tool real quick here, and rather than create another path. That's not the lasso tool. What's going on? The hockey season has started, and I'm pretty into it now. The team's the Rangers. I don't expect them to go to the playoffs this year, but it's going to be a very team building year. Lost the first game miserably to the Islanders, and then they got revenge on Saturday by winning 5-0. They're looking good. Looking good. About as good as a team that has no experience playing as a team looks at the beginning of the season. I got to really find out who's going to gel as a team. Why am I not? See, this is why I prefer pathing. It's just so much easier. Aaron Ventura. I'll read her bio in a second. I think we should make this part like a different color. Maybe like a brown. Gotta have brown eyes. She can't have white pupils. Let me make a brown. There we go. Add a little more. A little less. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's coming together. Skateboarding and hockey. I was really good at hockey. Like, my only problem is I couldn't skate. Skateboarding's awesome. I was never able to skateboard either. I have the worst balance in the world. If I could have skated, I would have joined a hockey team or even a roller hockey team, because roller hockey is pretty big here. But unfortunately, I was reduced to playing street hockey. Street hockey in New York is a thing, though. they have an actual league. It's called the Blacktop Hockey League. That's the one I was in. I'm sure it's still going. You were playing hockey and you were doing line shifts and everything, and it was a lot of fun. And it was a good way to work out. It's, you just weren't on skates, and I was really good defensively. Ryan Leach of the Rangers is my favorite player, so the left defense, and I was a lefty too. I'm a righty in everything I do, but for some reason, when I picked up a hockey stick, it just felt easier to use a left-handed stick. I don't know why. Got some fingers here we need to color. Are you an Avalanche fan by chance? DRS? I think I've seen you wear a hockey jersey on stream or a sweatshirt or something that's hockey related, but I can never tell what team it is. It's the Avalanche or maybe even the Blackhawks, I always thought. The Blackhawks, I thought so. Nice. Yeah, they're nothing, they're probably in the same boat as the Rangers are this year. My friend's a big Blackhawks fan too. He's from Cleveland originally. I know there was controversy. Tays wanted to get traded, and something was up with Tays, but I felt he wanted to get traded. All right, this looks good. There's no more orange we need to color on her. Let's do Ben Grimm. Normally he has a brown trench coat. Here they colored it like dark gray. I'm going to make it a light gray. Or lighter gray than the one that they have there. The new colored version of this cover was brown to match his hat. I'm going to make his coat gray. I might make his hat dark gray. So it kind of matches, because brown and gray, terrible colors to put together. Look at all this. This is probably because of the scan. They probably didn't make it put green in there. Go 30, 40, 50. Let's go with 50. 50% black. That's gray that we're going to use. But I like almost every team. I just like watching hockey in general. I'm a big hockey fan. If, the Rangers are not on TV and there's a good game on, I'll turn it on. I'll watch any game Tampa Bay plays. I'll watch the Hawks if they're on because, I follow them because of my friend too. It's rough because they have real talent and a proven Stanley Cup team, but they just don't play top hockey consistently. Yeah, I hear you. They're actually, I put them a step above the Rangers pretty much where they are now, because the Rangers are rebuilding, and the Blackhawks just, they should make the playoffs, but they have a team that's good enough to make the playoffs. It's just not happening for them. Mark Crawford, their long-time goalie that won us a couple of Stanley Cups with him, he retired recently too, and I was like, how old was he? Because I remember his rookie season. He definitely started playing in the 2000s, but I think he had like a 16-year career. I forget who he signed a contract with, I guess the Capitals, and then he retired as soon as he did. I don't know what this is in the middle. I like the coat's going over something. So this is a shirt he has on. Maybe I colored this wrong. Yeah, he has his shirt. So I screwed up here. That's fine. I'll remedy that. Wrong tool. A polygonal lasso tool. I guess I like also the Lightning because they're pretty much They're pretty much Rangers South. We've done a lot of trades with them. A lot of our players were on that team after a while. A lot have either retired or been traded since, but oh, I moved a layer by accident. Always make sure you're coloring on the right layer too. I was wondering if he has like a tie here or a bolo tie or something. That's what it kind of looks like. Now this looks like, oh, that's probably the back of the seat. Yeah. Yeah, I go way back with hockey to the days of the last time the Rangers won a Stanley Cup, and they made that trade with the Blackhawks to get Steve Larmer. We basically gave you guys Eddie Olczyk, who turned into a big scorer at the time for the Blackhawks. And Larmer played like a year or two here, and then he retired. All right. Not even gonna save that. Okay, let's make his hat darker gray. Let's bring it up to 80, maybe. Is that too dark? That's too dark. 75. Once we put the highlights on him, on the shadows, it'll look a lot nicer. A lot more contrast between his coat and his hat. These pats are getting out of control. I'm at the end of the window here. I'm going to delete a couple of them after this. We don't really need them anymore. We could just select a flat color. Managed to get pretty far last night in Bayonetta. I'm getting really good at the game and remembering parts of it now, so we're at chapter 10 when we started today. I think we have 6 or 8 chapters to go, which is pretty good. Yeah, a little bit darker. What color should we make his shirt? What goes good with a gray coat? I don't think he's wearing a tie. I think this is just his collar. He doesn't seem like the guy who would wear a tie. He's classy. He's Ben Grimm. AKA the Thing. Maybe like a light blue. Yeah, that looks. Go with 20% cyan. Not too light. We'll find out. Actually, let's bring this over. Don't want to do it so that there's no contrast between that and a Fantastic Four uniform, but yeah, that kind of matches. I like that. It's better than what they have here for him. I know he's the Thing, but why give him an orange shirt? This part of the sled here, what is this line? They have that as white, like it's part of her outfit. Maybe it's like a fold in the clothes. Those are like her shorts, then they should be blue. Definitely be a blue. They have it colored as white. I don't think it's white. Yeah, those are her shorts. All right, we're coming up on the hour mark, but we did a lot more here. Color Iron Man real quick. Why not? This way we have all the colors of all the characters done. You do their hair next time, and then Rosebud Sled we'll do next time. What do we want for Iron Man? Iron Man's red. Let's pick 100 magenta, 100 yellow. Maybe 20 black. This way we have all the characters pretty much standing out from the background. Probably do Sue and Reed Richards' hair. Or we finish the stream as well. We probably should. He got going for him. His leggings are, I call them leggings, and what he's got going on here is all gold. Everything else is red. Sometimes you got to pull back, see what you're coloring. This part, no, this is Sue's leg. Let me color that. Right? Yep. We'll go back there and fix that up. The real fun begins when you do the highlights and the shadows and starts to come to life. Doing the flats, it's like you could do them really quick. I mean, you're just doing flat coloring, so you don't have to worry about every aspect of their color. No, now we're doing the legging. We're not supposed to be doing the legging. This is all red. This should be red too, this little sliver. Must have been a hurry to color this. They did a lot wrong. There. Arm. Back in. There. Oh, no problem, DRS. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you for the lurk. Gold collar? No, not even a gold collar. It's just his faceplate is gold. Make it a different gold than we did for Thor's shoes over there, so there's more contrast. The lighter one. God, I did this wrong. I come around the mask. Could have a lighter gold on this. It's part of his outfit. No, there's a whole area in between here, which is just the background. And that's the sled. So here we go. It should be the end of the red, I think. Let's look right. It's too red. Maybe it needs to be lighter red. Shouldn't be the same color as Thor's cape. Oof, wrong button. Yeah, that's too light. Throw some black into this. Also metal, so it's probably a shinier red. Leave it like that. Some more red down here. We got too many paths here. Let's take some of them out. Let's actually save. It's been a while since we saved. Always save often. You never know. Photoshop crashes or something, you're screwed. This is all yellow, gold. Even this should be red. Boots should be red. Everything in between should be just gold. They did use the same yellow for as those boots, but oh, the top of his helmet has to be red. The dome here. I'll just pick up the red that we used. Whoops. What did I do? Alright, I didn't delete it. What happens when you hit the wrong button? That's why we save our work. There we go. What does this keep? This discover panel is so useless. Go with the same color gold. Well, we make it... at 29. I want to make it yellow. We'll use the same color. Leave that at 0% black. And then yellow we'll bring down to 80. Five maybe? No, 70. The other way. 70. Again, this is all like leather, I would think, or material, even though it's gold color. I doubt he's wearing gold shoes. They wouldn't be able to bend that way. Oh, we missed a part piece of red here too, so see how this gold looks first. Yeah, that's a disgusting yellow. Maybe he should be more yellow. Yeah, there we go. That matches. Brighter yellow. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. That's the yellow we want. I wanted a different yellow than we were using for hair and the darker yellow that we were using for all the gold on door. That part of his leg? Nope, that's part of the sled. That's how they have it. He would have a really knobby, like, goiter coming out of his kneecap if that was the case. That's leg. Yeah, there'd be something wrong with his knee if it had, like, this kind of a bulge coming out of it. Now it's looking good. We're gonna leave the sled for last. We'll probably color that next week. I don't know what color to color it, but if anybody's got any idea or any suggestions in chat, I would definitely take it. This should be yellow. As to what we should do with the sled. Doing the highlights is going to take a while too, so I'll do a bunch of highlights for certain characters on stream, and then maybe I'll do some offline if I can, just to speed things up a little. Also, if anybody's coloring comics, like, has taken this on and is trying it out and has had a chance to do this and, has done some of this, like, let me know. If you're proud of your artwork, I'll definitely show it. I'd be curious to see what you've done. All right, now for this leg. All right, just a little bit longer. This is our goal, to finish all the flats on the colors on the characters, and we've pretty much done that. The side of his leg? Yeah, that's the side of his leg. Tony Stark is very muscular. He, squinting my eyes because it looks like his leg would come down here. He has no, like, muscle to the side of it, right? So why is it not? Like, I would think the leg shape would be almost like a crescent. Let's get that in. I want to say these little chips right here are probably part of his outfit. Yeah, the knee goes in here. This is the kneecap. They did like a bad coloring job on this. For as awesome as the cover was. There you go. That's his leg. Like this stuff on the side, yeah, I could kind of see it. See what it looks like with it colored. Whoa, 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 whoa! Where'd our yellow go? Uh-oh. The heck did I do? Oh, I see what I did. I hid all my colors. That's what it was. How it looks so far with just the colors. Yeah, this is part of his leg. I'll give it to him. Why am I not coloring it white? What's wrong here? Or yellow, rather. Oh, because I'm on the black layer. Black channel. Hey, this is looking pretty good. Pretty good. Larry David would say. Look at that. It's getting nicer. Yeah, I don't know if I want those rays in the background to be yellow. There's so much yellow on the page. There's another part of Tony Stark's leg right here. No, this is Sue Richards. This is the Invisible Woman's leg, actually. Let's color that blue. Pick up the blue. That might be part of her leg too. She's got a really big leg. I don't know. How did they draw her leg here? There we go. Now it makes sense. That is her leg. This should be white. This should be blue. See it now. Right? No. Yeah, the top two are spaces there are blue, and then the bottom part is on the sled. Now that would be her thigh would be so big it'd be ridiculously out of shapeless. It'd be like wouldn't it be flattering for her to have this part of her thigh. This is gonna be part of the background. That's like underneath her leg. This should be white because this is part of her boot. I think they have white boots. Johnny Storm has white boot, right? She's the only one who's showing off her boot. Let's just make it white. There we go. Nope. Black, white. All right, we're getting there. We have some time. Yeah, let's do their hair so we finish all the characters' flats today. Take a brown. Dark brown, maybe? Be brown on top. And then he's got the skunk spots on the side. That's a little too dark. That's better. This should be white. Okay, Johnny Storm's hair is blonde as well, so it's the younger brother of the Invisible Woman. So I guess her name was Sue Storm at some point, and then she got married, and it became Sue Richards. And it hyphenated. They've had some wacky stories in like the last 15 years in comics. Like, I guess they've started running out of ideas. Every character has died and come back from dead. I really don't follow anymore. Everybody who I respected in the comic book industry, who as a writer, as an artist, not respected, like I don't respect people, but like whose artwork and writing I really, really liked is no longer in the industry. There are some artists that I know who are still in the business who are pretty good. But they're a dying breed. And those guys should be making top dollar because they're fast, they're efficient, they're good at their art. Pull this out. Johnny's hair. Johnny's hair should come right there. Color over the skin a little so that there's no like white line between the two. Okay, so blonde. We're gonna use the same color as we did for Thor's hair. Yeah, make the whole page that color. Gotta select this. That's why the yellow rays do not work in the background. I'll make them something else, and maybe the pink will be something else too. I don't know. Maybe white instead of yellow. I have it start out as yellow here, and then it becomes white as it fans out into the border of the comic. Because this right now looks like the same color as that, and there needs to be contrast. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. What I'd like to do next time is obviously the flat colors for the sled, and then we could start doing highlights for each character. I don't know what to make the sled. Guess I'll have to be silver. There's way too much gold on the page in yellow. Maybe detail this a little. Some of the foreground piping should probably be colored. The background stuff could probably be a solid because it fades into the background. Um, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Coming along. Rosebud 2. First Rosebud was in Citizen Kane. All right, I like it. As for Sharon, the she thing, her story. Her name is Sharon Ventura. Also known as the She Thing, is a fictional character appearing in American comic books. American comic books published by Marvel Comics. She has used the pseudonym Miss Marvel and has served as a member of the Fantastic Four and the female wrestlers known as the Grappler. An odd bio for her. I guess she used to be a female wrestler. This was her before she turned into the She-Thing. Involved in the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation. Really? Joined the Fantastic Four. Battle Diablo. Became popularly known as She-Thing, and it is by this name she is most known to comic book fans. He later encountered Aaron Rogue Watcher and battled the She-Hulk. But how did she become the Thing? That's what I want to know. Years later, She-Thing had a guest appearance in Marvel Knight 4. He was killed by the Skrull kill. Man, they really didn't do her any justice. That sucks. So she knew Taekwondo, boxing. She's not the current Miss Marvel. Does it even say how she became the She-Thing? Alright, I'll have to look that up for next time. Oh, here. Sharon was mutated by cosmic rays and took on strength and appearance similar to that of Ben Grimm, aka the Thing. Although she never officially retired her Miss Marvel moniker. She became more popularly known as the She-Thing, and it's by this name she is most known to comic book fans. Okay, I'd forgotten all that. There we go. Alright. She-Thing. Hey, Camilio, how's it going? Good stream last night on the GOG channel. I feel like they should ask you to come back to do some streams on that channel. You did a good job. And it was for a good cause, so kudos for everything you did last night. Yeah. It was a good charity event they put together. All right, let's save. And we're going to switch over to gaming in about a minute. It was pretty awesome. That's probably the biggest audience you had, right? You had like over, well, close to 200 people there, I remember, or 180 or around that. 180 and 200, so it was pretty cool. I'm kind of glad I didn't get the donation form to work for me because I felt what I bought off Amazon for her daughter, Ilad's daughter, was probably more useful to her daughter than to give to the Quebec Cancer Foundation, I think it was called. But you know, they needed their support too to continue their research. So either way, it was noble. Unless Tom raids you, but it goes down in minutes. Yeah, the most I've ever had was like when Centaur raids, and they stick around for a while and then it goes down. But